Founded by five members, the ASEAN community is one of the most diverse, fast growing, and competitive regions in the world.
What started with Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand is on track to becoming the fourth largest economy by 2050.
So let's take a look at how this economic community succeeded in creating jobs, prosperity, and growth.
The ASEAN Free Trade Agreement was formed in 1992 to keep up with the growing trends of regionalism. The original five members created it hoping that it would increase their competitiveness with the rest of the world. So what can AFTA theoretically do? Well, according to the Wiener model, it can create trade by removing barriers between members and making trade more efficient. However, it can also divert trade from more efficient non-members by preferring countries that are within the trading bloc. However, the Camboin theory suggests that as long as AFTA do not increase their external tariffs for non-members, it should lead to an overall trade liberalization effect, increasing trade for all. Furthermore, Krugman suggested that countries that have geographical proximity and internally trade up to 50% can be considered natural trading blocs that gain from lower transaction costs and result in efficient trading. So what are some of the questions that we can ask from the trade theories? Did AFTA actually create intra-trade? Did AFTA divert trade? And was external trade affected by AFTA? To investigate the first question, we look at the Trade Intensity Index for the original five members from 1993 till date. As you can clearly see, while Philippines and Indonesia increased their internal trade, Singapore's has actually fallen since 2003, as evidenced by the bulleted line. Now we take a look at the growth of internal and world exports. Take a look. Can you spot a country where the darker bars move in opposite directions from the lighter bars? For most countries, they actually move in the same direction, suggesting that export growth wasn't diverted from the rest of the world. By looking at the ASEAN 5 world exports over time, we can see that exports not only increased internally, but also with the rest of the world for each member. So what can we conclude? AFTA actually had a trade creation effect because it increased inter-regional trade. There was no evidence of trade diversions because world and internal exports grew together. There was overall trade liberalization because each member traded more with the rest of the world over time.
On the ASEAN Investment Area in 1998. The purpose of this document was to create a more competitive investment area with a more liberal and transparent investment environment. Now let's start the theoretical framework. Levine says that the role of financial institutions is to mitigate information and transaction costs, and the following financial functions are leading to capital accumulation and technology innovation, and that resulting in economic growth. There are some econometric analysis on the effect of FDI on economic growth, and the conclusion of them were rather unclear, because some of them had a positive impact and others a negative one. So why is ASEAN 5 an attraction to FDI? A. Relatively low wages compared to China. B. Founding of the ASEAN Economic Community. C. Economic partnership network with the core ASEAN countries. D. Extensive market covered by ASEAN. And E. Development of the rest of the members. During 2014, the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership and the Trans-Pacific Partnership had a fall of 10 and 7% respectively. On the other hand, due to a more relaxed regulation environment, both Asian Economic Group, ASEAN, and RCEP had an increase of 3 and 6% in the same period. Moreover, ASEAN 5 received a 128.4 billion in foreign investment. This means a whopping 7% increase compared to China FDI, which declined 2.9% from 2012. This is a proof that having a less regulated financial environment helped to get extra foreign investment. As was mentioned in previous slides, the FDI inflows have a strong nexus with economic growth. Therefore, we can observe in these two graphs that when one of the ASEAN 5 members encounters a decrease in net FDI inflows, the GDP per capita growth is decreasing as well. ASEAN 5 broke economic records like a $2.1 billion IPO for BTS in Thailand, and both Singaporean conglomerates Mapletree Greater China Commercial Trust and Sigtel with an IPO of $2.6 and $2 billion respectively. In conclusion, we can say that ASEAN is increasing opportunities and encouraging micro, small, and medium enterprises. Some MSMEs have internationalized and regionalized much faster because of the advanced technology. The prospect of further growth in FDI from Japan and Republic of Korea.
As previously mentioned, investment leads to development. Development can occur in two main ways: economic development and social development. The reasoning behind why trade could benefit development is simple. As has been shown by numerous examples, trade leads to increased economic activity. Because of this increased economic activity, the economy grows and so do incomes. Trade also increases the amount of goods and services available. Now that people have more money, they can also buy more and better goods. Let's look at a small economy that produces agricultural products. As openness increases, so do the opportunities. As a result, people engage in higher class employment and incomes rise. Thus, individuals have a higher standard of living. As a result of development, healthcare has improved, and this is shown by the fall in mortality rates. Also, we can see that productivity has risen, which is a classic sign of improved education and capital in the economy. Lastly, we can also see that incomes have grown, and this means now people are better off than they were before. As we can see, Singapore clearly leads in all categories compared to the rest of the ASEAN countries. Singapore seeks to gain the most according to a number of academics, however the other ASEAN countries gain by having access to the Singaporean markets and new technology. However, this can create a brain drain effect where smart labor moves away from the ASEAN countries to Singapore. A number of academics have found a link between trade and development, but there's also been found a link between development and trade. Therefore, saying that the ASEAN Agreement caused development is almost impossible. What we can say is that the ASEAN Agreement caused economic activity, which can be extrapolated to say has caused development. Overall, we can see from the evidence provided that the 5 founding ASEAN countries have improved in 4 main variables. Incomes have increased, hunger and poverty have decreased, education attainment has improved, and access to healthcare has also improved. Overall, society is better off than they were 30 years ago.
Overall, our results imply that the ASEAN Agreement has been a prosperous one.
By maintaining investment in technology, facilitating trade, and the business climate, ASEAN can continue to prosper throughout the 21st century.
Thank you for watching.